Pitney Bowes, it started in the mailing business. It's a manufacturing company that has technology and is in the midst of a transformation to become a technology company that does manufacturing. Our mail business represents the largest percentage of our revenue, where we've got north of 80% market share there. And our software business is somewhat new and has grown through a series of acquisitions, some inorganic growth there as well as some organic growth over the years, but we're now in the midst of transitioning from just a physical company to a digital company and bringing those two worlds together. So marrying the physical and digital worlds. And we find ourselves in somewhat of a unique position in that regard, given the long history that we have in physical. And now more than a 20-year-old set of businesses in digital. Pitney Bowes Software is, we have a collection of businesses. Digital Commerce Solutions is one, and within Digital Commerce Solutions we have a location intelligence business unit, a customer information management business unit, as well as a customer engagement solutions business. We really do power the world of commerce, and location is an ingredient to that. Information management is an ingredient to that. Engagement and engaging with customers is an ingredient to that. We've got a unique opportunity to expose those assets in modern ways, in frictionless kinds of engagement scenarios where customers can work with us in a way that they want to, which is very low touch and just integrate with some APIs. So we have started our API offering with our location intelligence business. We have over 240 unique data sets that we've assembled over the years, which we've traditionally sold in sort of clip, zip, and ship kinds of modes that are supportive of licensing models and that sort of stuff. But we can now begin to expose those in request response kinds of scenarios. And following on location intelligence, pretty soon we'll be introducing a shipping API. There's some other interesting things we have as well around payments. It's a sort of a little known fact, but when you use Pitney Bowes mail machines, you're actually printing money. We're one of very few companies that is allowed to do that. We have a lot of payment processing capabilities that we've built up over the years. So that would be another thing that we introduce, as well as some other small to mid-sized business services, customer information management services, and engagement solution services as well. So we've got a great opportunity ahead of us here in terms of what we can expose. We then also have a lot of capabilities that we could expose to developers inside the four walls of Pitney Bowes. We've got a lot of different back office systems, from marketing automation systems to campaign management systems, subscription billing systems, operations administration and maintenance and provisioning systems that handle setups and so forth, customer relationship management systems, and on and on and on. All of the back office stuff that you typically expect to find in a large organization, we're now exposing those as well through APIs for internal teams to build products faster, rather than having to sort of assemble these things in a traditional IT-heavy kind of way. If you don't have the captive audience within the first 5 minutes of sort of learning about your service, there's a high risk there. So we've really focused on what they must have, but also what they don't want to have. And the common thread that we found was things that are sometimes overlooked, like unified billing and contracting. If a developer finds something that they want to use, but then they want to buy that, they have to inform maybe a business buyer or financial buyer to help them with that. If that leads to exhausting contractual kinds of conversations with lawyers, if it leads to different bills for different APIs or multiple bills, that's a problem. So we focused on unified billing and contracting as one of the key must-not-haves. And in looking at what Apigee does, what we were able to do was by focusing on those two things, which don't seem that important on the surface, actually influence how you price. We wanted to have unified billing so that someone could come in, buy a subscription from us, and get access to all APIs. We didn't want to do a la carte pricing. And Apigee happens to support that kind of one-to-many model that when we looked at other vendors, they were challenged to do. So the driver for choosing Apigee was actually people and price. Product followed thereafter. But when we looked at people's needs, that informed how we would price, which then informed our product, which then informed the back-end infrastructure that we needed to have in order to support the product. I think the bare minimum set of things that we need to be able to do is authenticate and authorize transactions and account for them. We need a bean counter, right? But we have, with all of the data sets we have in different services, we have a lot of variability built into what we might want to charge for a particular API. So what we came up with was a unified currency and billing approach. And our currency are Pitney Bowes tokens, or PB tokens, where a token is equal to 1 penny, and we can extend that out to other currencies as well. Where we then say, okay, if you'd like this API, it's worth 25 tokens, or this one's worth 5, or this one's worth 50, or this one's worth 100. Because there's that variability built in. Not all data is created equal, and therefore not all services are created equal. And what we found in working with Apigee is we could set that up, right? We could have someone come in, buy a plan, and then Apigee would do all the authentication, authorization, and accounting against the particular sets of tokens that we set up for each API, which on the surface doesn't appear like a challenge that's too terribly monumental, right, or insurmountable. In our technical due diligence and working with the API management vendors out there, this was something that Apigee supported right out of the box. Why do I love APIs? APIs for me are all about community. So this is the 4th API offer I've brought to market in my career. The first one I did in 2000 with some soap services. And I've learned, I learn every single time. Every time I've done one of these, I learn something new. But I think one of the key constants that I've discovered over the years is when you have these kinds of services and other partners have them, you can begin to assemble a set of adjacent services that then allow you to build an ecosystem and a community around those. So initially your story might be about your product and what you do, what your information services are, what your APIs are, but then as you have people use them, your story becomes more about what they do and less about what you do. And in fact, you can find yourself, you can position yourself that way, where if you give them a platform, and I don't mean a technology platform, but you give them a podium from which to tell their story about how they're using your stuff, you create a really vibrant, self-reinforcing ecosystem. My end goal for any API offer is to be able to tell my story by telling my customer's story. Because their stories are always the most powerful ones to tell.